Okay, that took a little while to start to press the record button.
No, it's cool. It's also, these do they start slow. They start with us just kind of wait, getting there, and yeah, you can't always get to the top of the mountain at the start. Sometimes we hop in, we're like, this is what we're doing. This is it. This is not one of them.
No, this
This
is not one of those mornings.
we've re-entered for me. Wait one second. Hi, Andrew.
Hello, Brandon.
Start that timer.
Boom.
Boom. We've re-entered for me the feast part of my life and
Mhm.
left more of the famine part where like I have to figure out what gigs to take where and how I can do like three things in one day, like three different jobs in one day. And
Yeah.
like I am also it's because I was in a little bit of a famine period. Probably a better way to say that. Famine's a serious thing, but oh well. I was like, my body's not ready for it yet, so I'm like still like trying to reset everything
Yeah.
so that I can keep going and going and going because it is like a skill set. And I know it's not like the healthiest thing, but also like I'm gonna do it. Like you just sometimes you have to accept some stuff about yourself that you're gonna do.
Yeah, and I think that whole idea of it not being healthy like that is just something from my own my own life that I sort of come to accept, I think. I mean, both of us, exercise and stuff like that. So we're not talking about that kind of healthy, I think it's just almost a mentality, I think that
Yeah,
maybe is kind of unhealthy.
and like a level of like just frustrated exhaustion that you're just gonna hit.
Exhaustion.
Like you're gonna leave, and then you're gonna go, okay, well that was cool.
Yeah. No, it's the exhaustion, that I think is really a hallmark, I think, of artists and musicians in this. And like all week, like it's so topical for me as well because all week I've been like, okay, I'm gonna go to bed early. I'm gonna go to bed early.
Yeah.
And every night, I mean, I end up with like, 3, 4 hours of sleep. It's like, come
Yeah,
on.
nighttime is your goofing off time. I mean, there
Yeah.
is like the feeling of driving from one gig to the next gig,
Hmm.
no like going anywhere in between. And like that reset in the car is such an or
Yeah.
on the walk or whatever is such an important part of the process that
Yeah.
it's easy to forget that your car time is your time.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not what I want to talk about today, Andrew. Is that was a great start. It was a good point. But I also
Mhm.
want to bring some up because I've been doing this a lot recently in a lot of different ways. And part of what Yonko is the act of doing this and the act of not doing this. I like to talk about the art and importance of postering and flyering. Um,
Oh, okay. That's a good topic.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a lost, not lost. That's too strong. I feel like a lot of people will slack on postering and flyering.
Mhm.
Um, when I think it's a really important part of doing the job. Like that level of just going,
Yeah.
taking a day, taking 2 days, going from business to business and going, do you put up posters? No. Okay. Well, okay. Cool. Thank you. And then go on to the next one. And then, figuring out that rat-a-tat, that spiel
Mhm.
is, I think it's important because it makes you a member of a community that you are performing in. They go, oh, that's the guy who came in here and tried to put a poster up.
Mhm.
And also I think it's important because like it's really hard and it's I had to do posters yesterday. It was the first time I've done posters in an extensive way in years
Mhm.
between pandemic and I think it is it's harder than you expect and also like it's all about this sounds too dark, but it's the act of like they're not people. You say your spiel. If they say yes, great. If they say no, that's fine too. It's
Mhm.
about saying the same. Here's this thing. Da, 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 this is my partner. Da, 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 da. And like I think you should probably always do it with a buddy. I don't think it's possible to poster without a friend. I think you need a guy to go. That place was weird. You go, yeah, it was, and then you go on to the next one.
Yeah.
Um, but I think I wanted to point out the importance and skill set that is the ability to just kind of poster and flyer because
Yeah.
flyering is a little bit different. But like flyering is the act of handing someone a flyer and going, "We have a show out here if you want to check it out." And I it's so and people are like, oh, I'm such an introvert. Doesn't matter. You're not. It's not an introvert extrovert thing. You're just saying the spiel over and over.
Yeah.
And like one of the things to get through it, which I think is, I try to tell people, is like, you have to change your definition of success on these,
Mhm.
because you're going to get more no's than yeses. You're going to get more slam doors in your face. That's not why you're there, though. You're not trying to get that. If you remove to, all I need to do is get this flyer out of my hand,
Mhm.
that's fine. Or all I need to do is say my spiel every time I go into this place. That's fine too, you know? And you know, it's a good day. It's a good character builder. What do you have? Do you have any good flyer or poster? Have you flyered or postered in your past?
Yeah, definitely. And well, actually, what I like about you bringing up this topic is because it's sort of, I think if most people hear it, then they'll probably think of it as more of an old school technique.
Mhm.
But I think, the kind of advertising and stuff that gets attention, obviously, is, emails and or Facebook and,
Mhm.
well, even emails now is considered sort of an
Mhm.
antiquated idea, so, then when you hear people talk about marketing, they talk about all the new marketing techniques like using TikTok or whatever. And
Mhm.
but I think if you really dive into it, and I've listened to a couple of podcasts that at least support this idea, that it's really oh, you want to take a big picture, kind of idea, because maybe TikTok is part of, it's not really what we do, but it's part of what some people do. But social media is like only a part of marketing.
Mhm.
But this sort of old school physical is also part of it as well because it still works,
Mhm.
Um, and so that's the first thing that came to mind, is that I think it's important to sort of look at that. But the other thing is that I think what you're saying about about the idea of changing your expectations, you're going to get more no's than yes. It's kind of it's a really good this is a really good example of the kind of selling that artists do. Um, the kind of salesmanship I
Mhm.
think that artists do, and that anyone kind of going into a career in the arts, you do need to at least be in part a salesman.
Unless, yeah, there's this. I'm trying to be chiller in my old age,
Mhm.
but there are geniuses in the world who don't need to sell themselves, and they people will just look at what they do, and other people will sell it for them. Unfortunately, you are not one of those geniuses. Like,
Yeah.
you are not the genius behind. But I think it is important. I think it's also, with all the algorithm stuff and the TikTok stuff, and there is something nice about not having to bow, like with postering and
Yeah.
flyering, about not having to bow down to the algorithm and trying to be like this word. And I do it too. I do it with my shirts. I do it with my little
Yeah.
string art. This, if I say this song and put this here and do this, maybe, oh, this will happen. And you're just trying to, make some level of alchemy that makes it
Yeah.
so people will react to you. Um, but just the physical act of, here's the thing, come check out the thing. And what
Mm.
I like about flyering and postering is you're working an area. Now
Mhm.
that area can be as big as a city and as small as a street, but you're
Mhm.
working one single, you're trying to create, this is happening in this spot, not just this is happening nebulously on the internet.
Mhm.
This is a thing that is happening in your neighborhood right now, right here. And I think creating art, it is easy to get lost in your own genius and your own necessity of uh, being, and forget that you are a tapestry in the community around you, and you are elevating the space, not elevated from the space, And
Mhm.
I think getting down in the dirt and going, hey, you want to see a show, you want to see a show, you want to see a show, is a really good way to understand your area and what you're making art for. You know what I mean? I
Mhm.
know they're making art for because you're a genius, but I think it's a good way to go, oh, these are the people that need art and need to see this.
Mhm.
Whatever special spark is in my heart, these are the people that I need to sell it to.
Yeah.
And
And
I always get frustrated because, like, I'm not good at it, but I'm better than a lot of people, because they like get caught up and like, I get freaked out. Like, who cares? Who cares? There's
yeah.
no, you have to not care doing this. And I wish more people were better at handing out flyers and postering. I will also say the thing about flyering is like cold calling. I think the return is 1%. So like it's
Yeah.
tiny, and you know it's tiny, and you go in knowing it's tiny, but you
Yeah.
do it because you got to do something, and like get
Yeah,
a buddy.
exactly. Yeah, and I like the idea that you're talking about it as a tapestry because within that tapestry, there's especially because I think part of the area that you're talking about is like a college town area in this
Absolutely, yeah.
case, yeah. And college towns are really, really diverse places, with a lot of people with a lot of different interests and that kind of thing. And so that tapestry, uh, even though 99% of the people you talk to aren't going to come to your part of the tapestry, it's still there. Like it's in the tapestry and it's,
Hmm.
part of the ethos of it, I think. So
And I think in the tapestry metaphor that we shall overextend,
yeah.
one of the things that I also think when making art, it's important. You gotta get out of your own butt a little bit. Is going places and going, oh well, I'm making this, and what I'm making is great, but someone else is making this over
Yeah,
there. That is their business, their art, their
exactly.
restaurant, and respect. Going in and going, this is cool. This is cool, and like mean it.
Yeah.
Don't be a jerk about it.
No,
Don't.
and that's part of what I was getting at as well, is like, you see what part of that community that you're in and what other people are doing as well. Because I think it's very easy for artists and musicians to get in their own heads and like think that they're the most important part of that tapestry or part of
Yeah.
that community.
I
And
mean, at some
yeah,
points, I will admit, you kind of have to. Like, yeah,
yeah,
you have to say the big lie to yourself that
yeah,
that you're so special that you deserve this
mhm,
attention. Which is the lie you say to survive. But it's actually the big truth is you are so special and you deserve this attention. The unfortunate part of that is that's true for everyone else too. They are
mhm,
also so special and deserve this attention. So you got to figure out how to get it on you. Uh,
exactly. Yeah, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and it's
Yeah,
that's
flyering
okay. That's okay.
has a 1%. Flyering is a 1% gig. It's 1%. But
Mhm,
you go stand on a corner and you hand out. Here you go, do it. But I would like to see, especially in like it's cool to where I did it was in a college town, and that's dope, and I love that. And I've done it in cities. I've done it in New York, and I've done it
mhm,
in everyone's like, oh, people have told me I'm good at it, and I'm like, well, in I think it's the East Village in New York. You can bark, but you're not allowed, or talk, but you're not allowed to hand out flyers.
mhm.
So you just have to go up to individuals with nothing in your hand and go, "I got a comedy show if you want to." Comedy, 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 and like that is hard mode, dude. That's a lot.
Yeah.
As you won't know if you won't know the power of a flyer until you take it out of your hands and have to just go up to strangers and go, "Hello, would you like to see some comedy? It's over in this bar." Like that's not you don't love that. I don't love that. Like, oh
Mhm,
no thank you, no thank you. I mean if you can do it behind a table, it's easier. If you can do it with
mhm.
posters in your hand, it's easier. If you can do it with flyers in your hand, it's easier. If you can do it with none of it, you're just talking to folk, and that's a hard mode. I've done, and I did not. I was all that stuff I said about tapestry and stuff. All that goes out of the window, and I'm just like, this is terrible. I would never do this. I hate these people.
Well, yeah, because if you put yourself on the other end of it, like, would you want that? I don't think I
Yeah,
would want that.
I need
So,
a. I mean, also, I want to add this. Someone hands out a flyer, you take the flyer, you say
yeah,
thank you, and
exactly.
like walk a couple of blocks before you throw it away.
Yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah.
yeah, that's the other thing about people. I want to say about flying and postering is when you see them in the garbage, you can't take them back out. That's rude.
Right.
Don't take them back out. I know you want to. I know you paid money for it. Don't take them back out, and don't get discouraged because
Yeah.
that's not what you didn't care or you don't care about with this type of cold calling, which is basically what you're doing. You don't care about getting the um getting them to the show. Your job is only to get the flyer in their hand. After it's in their hand, that's someone else's
Yeah.
responsibility.
Mhm.
I think it's also important for jobs like this. Like, don't try to flyer poster and don't try to sell tickets at the same time. That's too many jobs. All you're trying to do today is you're trying to get out posters. Now, maybe if you're a genius, you can figure that out. But all you got to do is go, hey, can I put a poster up in your window? No, okay, cool. Do you have a community board? Thank you very much, and then just move on to the next one. But like, don't try to sell tickets at the same time. Don't push yourself that hard because you got a long day in front of you. You got a lot of blocks to walk and just going, hey, would you like? Hey, would you like?
Mhm.
Hey, would you like?
Yeah.
And also know where your community boards are. You should have that in the back of your head. You should know like every this is sort of Decan, but it is why not. Every Wawa has a community board, every single one. And all you have to do is go, hey, can I put this on your community board? And if it's a legit thing, they'll go, yeah, you can put that up. And that's all you got to do. Then you're done. And you're in
Mhm.
a gas station, You're in a gas station for free. And a lot of people use gas stations.
Mhm.
So, throw your arm out or, put stickers up illegally.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, I know time's up. But actually, that was one thing that I wanted to mention earlier is that actually, it's been cool to see like people who have commented on our videos saying that a QR code brought them there. And I like to see that a lot, just because it shows the fruits of really your labors. I mean, you've been putting those QR codes up there.
Yeah. It's always interesting because, like, for it's got to be like 300 stickers I have to put up to get one comment.
Uh-huh.
And like that's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to try to get one comment on the
Yeah.
feet on the ground on one comment. But it's also in fairness for that. That's part of the art is these things that are just
Yeah.
around that suddenly you would go to that I imagine someone would scan and go down and
Yeah.
suddenly be in a place musically and visually.
Exactly, yeah, and that's why I try to always say thank you because it's like, they're taking a risk, by going that QR code, because it could be a scam or whatever,
Could be a scam because
Yeah,
one of them literally says illegal scam music.
exactly. Um,
Not the best marketing. I said all this stuff about marketing, and then I named something illegal scam music, illegal
yeah,
scam hold music.
exactly. But
All words people are like, what of
yeah,
those words?
so it is like someone who does that is either just unaware of what could the consequences could be, or they are willing to take an adventure. So I really appreciate that they're taking an adventure with us. So
And I hope it's a good payoff. I hope they have a good. I think when they make a comment, I think that's a good little adventure
it
they got
is.
to have.
Yeah.
That's the other thing about hanging posters. I think when hanging and making and selling posters, try to make a world that looks a little bit more like the way you would like to see it.
Mhm.
I know there's advertising things that you should focus on, and that's all good. And I'm not saying don't do that and find out what the best font is to get people in. That's great. But create images and atmospheres in your advertising of a world that you want to see, and then use those images and atmosphere in your advertising to shift people towards that world in general and then towards your show.
Yeah, the art of postering and flyering, I think
The art of
definitely
postering and
apply.
flyering. I think we've found a title.